What is up, everybody? My name is Whooped. Welcome to my Winner Learn to the Top 100 series. The game I'm about to show you is the most frustrating game I've played today, but I feel like a lot of it is self-inflicted. I dipped down a little bit. My current MMR is 1,824, and my opponent this match is 1,795. So my opponent goes Fortified with Sledgehammer and Fangs, and I choose Missile Specialist with Sledgehammer and Arclights. I suspected my opponent would come out aggro, but I didn't know if he'd be on the right side, the left side, or the middle. You know, a lot of the times they'll even play back like this. So I wasn't really sure where he'd be, so I just did my typical lineup. Pretty good round one. I mean, nothing too unusual. I thought about this one for a while, but I ended up taking Improved Scorpion, and the reason is because I wanted the extra range. Now, I was debating about whether or not the cost would be worth it, but I felt like it would in this particular case. So, as Missile Specialist, I decided to stagger my missiles. One, I wasn't sure if he was going to shield. I figured he probably wouldn't, but just in case, I'm gonna only use one, but also, I kind of want to use one and then have it, available for the next round as well. I decided to place Arclights down. Now typically I'd get straight into like a Mustang Scorpion defense, but in this particular case I felt like I wanted to play through my Arclights a little bit. And part of the reason is the additional cost to the Improved Scorpion. You know, I couldn't afford to throw down a 350 cost Scorpion, and I didn't really want to start with Mustangs. So right now I'm basically just building my board. I realize I'm probably going to lose the round in a couple of rounds. Arclights will just not compete with Sledgehammers or lower level ones. I'm not going to win this battle, but it's going to be close enough where, I can use HP as a resource and kind of get into building my board. Alright, so now I start getting into the Mustangs. My goal right now is to make sure that I have adequate Chaff clear, so that when I place down Scorpions, I'll be able to hit his Sledgehammers and not worry about Chaff too much. And of course I'm trying to get my Arclights some levels as well, because I still do want to play through them. I feel like Arclights with range and elite marksman do a lot of work, even against Sledgehammers, and maybe even EMP, depending on what he goes. Again, it's another close round, but we lose. We're using HP as a resource. Now, I saw the 3 Stormcallers. Honestly, I wasn't really sure what to pick. I could have picked Phoenix, or I could have even picked Farseer, but for some reason I went with the Stormcallers. In hindsight, I don't think this was the best call. I don't think I would choose this again if I can go back and make that decision. I think maybe getting the Farseer and then selling it in a couple rounds, or getting the Phoenix and maybe even going Phoenix for a little bit. I don't know. I'm not sure Stormcallers was the play, because it's not really good against Sledgehammers, especially Sledgehammers with mech. So, and one of the big problems I have right now is I don't have anything with bite. So my Arclights don't do a lot of damage, my Mustangs don't do a lot of damage, Sledges don't do a lot of damage. Really, it's just the Stormcallers, if they can land their attacks. And they still don't even do that much damage. I don't have anything with bite on the board, and that is particularly concerning when he has, higher level Sledgehammers. I'm letting these Sledgehammers get, too many levels. This one's a 3, this one's a 2. We cannot have that. We will not win if he continues to level up his Sledges, especially because I am so slow to putting down Scorpions. What I should have done is absolutely started selling these and going straight away into Scorpions. My Improved Scorpions. Because right now he has 4 Sledges and I have 0 Scorpions. Not to mention his Farseers. And he has a lot of Chaff. So this is not looking good already, Now the good news is our chaff clear is pretty decent. We have Mustangs and Arclights, and even Stormcallers. Even then, still, he's getting through with chaff, which is a bit unfortunate. And I think this is when the game starts to kind of pull away from me. I focused on building out my board a little bit too much, but I didn't incorporate anything with damage into it. Like, I have damage, but I don't have that DPS unit, that anchor of damage. You know, I thought about super supply, but ultimately I decided to go with the additional deployment because I wanted the ability to build chaff and get down everything else I needed. So I sold the sledgehammer, dropped down 2 scorpions. Unfortunately, I borrowed to do so. I don't like the fact that I have to dip into my economy like this. I'm hurting myself, especially because I didn't take super supply, and my opponent didn't either, but of course I didn't know that yet. But look at all that chaff though. I mean, that is absolutely crazy. And so, I don't know, I felt the pressure, honestly, and so I'm like, you know what? Listen, I borrowed now, maybe I can boost my defense a little bit. And it worked a little, you know. The Scorpions absolutely had an impact. Unfortunately, my towers still aren't leveled, so, well, this one is. But he just walked in and took it, which, you know, ultimately lost the round for us. So even with borrowing, I wasn't able to stabilize, which is a bit unfortunate because that just means my opponent's going to be in that much more of a better position. And it's only round 5, which means it's not looking good. So I take orbital bombardment. I don't take acid because I feel like acid's too expensive. So if we look at the board right now, this is just so much to deal with. All this, look how much chaff he has already, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 things of chaff, followed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things of sledgehammers and a couple farseers. Like, that is ridiculous to deal with. At least that's how I feel right now. I do throw down the cheeky flank. I'm trying to make a play on a tower just to buy me a little bit of relief, I guess. You know, it's going to take a moment to get in there, but I feel like if I can hold him off just, you know, long enough, maybe between the bombardment, the missile strike, my shield, and throwing a little bit of pressure on his flank, that we can start to turn this thing around, because I'm starting to lose a lot of HP. So I do take the orbital bombardment. I'm just trying to get, you know, a little bit of damage on these guys so that my scorpions can finish them off, because I still only have level 1 scorpions as well. They're improved, but they're not great, you know. So I'm like, I'm thinking I'm gonna be orbital bombarded for sure. Turns out I was not, surprisingly. Now I do drop oil to slow this rush down so that my orbital bombardment can actually hit him. But also because, you know, this is the bulk of his attack and he's putting a lot of pressure on this tower. So I'm using oil for our defense. And we do, it slows him down long enough for us to take his tower, which gives us enough time to, I believe, take this round. He'll still get it, I think. Yeah, he'll still get the tower. So if we didn't put this oil down, he would have took that a lot sooner and I wouldn't have got his left tower. And he probably would have won the round or close to it, so. But at the same time, we had to use a missile strike, a shield, oil, an orbital bombardment, and a flank just to barely win the round. So, oh, and we don't even win the round, actually. Never mind, I spoke too soon. See, that is very unfortunate. We just spent everything trying to take that round, and we still didn't take it. So at this point, I don't even know what to do, honestly. I'm like, okay, I have to take care of these flanks before they turn into something so that I can go forward. So take care of the flank and then, you know, join the main fight. I put the fire badger here to ignite this on fire, to give me a little bit of relief here. and then I dropped down 3 scorpions. So my plan right now, what I'm thinking in my head is I have a real big chaff problem, but I also have just a damage problem. I'm not getting through these scorpions. And so what I'm thinking is I'm going to get acid on my scorpions, right? And I'm going to apply acid evenly spread across the thing so that my Mustangs can start doing a lot of work as well. Because in this particular game, he has armor enhancement, which means my Mustangs will do literally 0 damage if I don't have acid there, because it's a damage multiplier. And so I need to get acid. So that's basically my goal right now. I'm like, okay, I'm going to build out my scorpions. I'm going to get acid eventually, because right now I don't even have range on them or acid. So I'm severely behind. It's already round 7 and I don't have range or acid on my scorpions. Like, that's how far behind I am. And so knowing this, I'm like, okay, I have to missile out some of his chaff. So I missile out these 3 chaff and I put these on fire, right? So I'm buying myself another round essentially. So I don't know if I'm going to win this round, but what I'm basically saying is, hey, I can't lose the game. I need to do something. So I start missiling out his chaff and then light it on fire. Really good move by connecting his oil to mine, knowing that I was going to light it on fire, which just lit my own stuff on fire. So I thought that was an absolutely brilliant move by my opponent. Now, unfortunately, he took our tower. It was upgraded to level 2, but as you can see, I'm getting destroyed here. It's not looking good at all. I skipped. I could have took EMP. In hindsight, I probably should have taken EMP just so I can, you know, put some EMP on one of these guys to offer me a little bit of relief. But so I decided to add a lot of Mustangs. And the reason I did that is because I felt like I need chaff clear, which is crazy to say because I have multiple arc lights and packs of Mustangs and 6, you know, scorpions. I mean, let's take a moment and look at this. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 packs of chaff. That is absolutely crazy. And then he has level 3, level 3, level 4, level 6, level 2 sledgehammers. And they're 2 teched at this moment. Not to mention, you know, the 2 squads of level 3 Phoenix he has and the Farseer. So I'm like, what in the heck is going on right now? Like, how did I get myself in this spot? But the reason I said self-inflicted in the beginning is because I should have went Vulcan immediately. Like immediately. And Vulcan would have been good against the sledgehammers as well. Not even just good against the chaff, but good against the sledgehammers. So like Vulcan marksman would have absolutely annihilated this. It was a stubborn thing. I was basically like, I know Vulcan would be the best unit I could possibly use against you, but I'm not going to do it because I'm going to try to beat you my way. And so it was a very, very stubborn thing that I did that was to my own detriment. Anyway, I need some help. So I got Mustangs down, right? I put multiple Mustangs down for the chaff clear, 4 of them. But I also missiled out chaff here and here, right? So I'm taking care of the flank and I'm missiling out the other chaff on the flank so that I can join the main fight. Is basically my plan. Now I know he's trying to put pressure on this tower, and that is part of the reason that I'm missiling out the flanks. And I thought maybe at this time he would try to put pressure on this tower. I wasn't sure if he'd continue to do this one. I suspected it would be this one on the right because, you know, that's his higher level sledges, but he also has level 3s over here with Phoenix, so I wasn't sure if he was going to switch sides. But that's basically the reason I'm missiling everything out. Now he gets Subterranean Blitz. He has Subterranean Blitz and Mech Rage on his crawlers. So not only are they super fast, but they also are a little bit more tanky and resistant to my Mustangs. Now, fortunately, I have just enough that I can do some work, and he still ends up taking my tower, which is incredibly frustrating. This whole time, I'm just so frustrated by how easy he's just walking in and basically doing what he wants. Now, fortunately, we had enough left over on this side that we could still do something with. And we had just enough Mustangs to get the job done. And even after all that, after all the missiles and the missile strike and all the squads of Mustangs that I have, I still barely won. Barely. He drops down to 3,800. Going into round 9, he's at 3,800. I'm like, this is such a lost cause. Absolute lost cause, but I don't give up. Now, having all these Mustangs is only a matter of time before he got armor enhancement. So I knew that. I'm well aware of it. I decided to missile these out again. So I'm going to missile out all of these and all these. I'm spending so much money on missiles. It's ridiculous. But I feel like I have to. Because even though my chaff clear is pretty good, it's not 23 or whatever packs of, you know, subterranean blitz crawlers good. I want to be able to apply acid to the sledgehammers as soon as possible. And I dropped acid knowing that he most likely is going to get armor enhancement. And if I want to do any damage to them whatsoever, I'm going to need to have acid. I also upgraded my tower to level 3. And I put chaff in front of it so he can't just run in so fast and take it. Because I'm actually lacking a lot of chaff unless you count Mustangs as chaff. I'm lacking a lot of chaff this game. Mustangs are serving as a secondary or tertiary chaff though. Now, once I got acid on my scorpions, and they are improved scorpions, things started going much smoother. I'm still not completely dominating though. You would think with all the Mustangs and scorpions I have, I would just absolutely be dominating if I spend 600 on missiles every round, but I really didn't win by that much. However, it's at least a game. I decided to take the fortress. And the reason is because it's level 3 fortress. I immediately got barrier. And that means that's going to be 120,000 HP barrier that he's going to have to get through. And I know that, you know, high level sledgehammers do damage, but getting through 120,000 HP is going to be quite a bit, you know, of a task. And then I also add a shield over here, or a fortress, but basically for the barrier. And then I add a couple regular shields. And then I put more chaff in the front, just so he can't walk in and take the towers like he wants to, because that's basically his plan right now. It's just mobile beacon in and take the towers. I know this though, and so I put chaff here, and then I oil here. So the reason I didn't oil on the right is because, you know, that's where I have my chaff. So I knew he wouldn't be able to just walk in and take it. I also knew Vulcan was a possibility just because whenever you place down a lot of Mustangs, a very common response is going Vulcan. And the ironic part is, I purposely avoided going Vulcan because of how much chaff he had. I felt like, you know, Vulcan is a very, it's a kind of a cheap unit, if I'm being honest. I think you guys already know how I feel about that. It's a cheap unit in my opinion. And so I don't like using it. But in this particular case, I should have used it. I just didn't. And we ended up getting the dub. Somehow we ended up winning. I don't know. This game was incredibly frustrating. I never got my Mustangs going how I wanted. I only had one tech on them. I didn't even have AP bullets. I did get attack enhancement 2, which helped. I should have sold out of my Stormcallers. Better late than never on my Scorpions. I eventually got ranged acid, which absolutely helped a lot. You know, I eventually ended up protecting my towers from him just running in and taking them. Again, that's kind of like a better late than never thing as well, because I'm severely lacking in the chaff game. Now, I thought about going into crawlers myself and just matching him with crawlers, but getting impact, drill, and replicate. And so I thought about doing that, but I ultimately decided against it. And that was the round that I put all the Mustangs down. Absolutely, I should have had Vulcans, or I should have just went with Fire Badgers, because if you notice, I sold the Fire Badgers. It's not because I felt like that was the best thing to do. It's because I was being stubborn, and I was going to say, hey, I'm going to kick your butt without using fire, basically is what I was trying to say. It was like, it was just, you know, a very prideful thing to do, which I'm not proud of, ironically. So the moral of the story, use Vulcans.
I'm just kidding.
If you enjoyed the content, consider liking and subscribing. I'm Whooped. Thanks for watching.
This is Mechabellum, and it's going down. Whooped, got it poppin'.